People love the job this president is doing.
Our new Fox News polling shows that people perhaps are concerned with how things are going. This is as of March 14th. Those that say they disapprove, 56%, more than half. Those who approve of the president's handling of the economy is at 43%.
Oh, that's gonna hurt.
There's been a few times on the network where we've highlighted polls showing Trump's deteriorating support across the country, to which his most staunch supporters often hit back with, this is just liberal elites, coastal Trump haters, etc. Well, how many liberal elites are tuning in to Rupert Murdoch's Fox News channel? Because they conducted a poll recently, and watch what happens when said poll numbers from Fox News viewers were presented to Trump press secretary and professional verbal gymnast Caroline Leavitt.
And our new Fox News polling shows that people perhaps are concerned with how things are going. This is as of March 14th. Those that say they disapprove, 56%, more than half. Those who approve of the president's handling of the economy is at 43%. And in that same polling, we asked about the most important issue facing the country today. And top of the list is inflation. And the economy is number 2, and jobs. Those are first and second as it goes down to political division and preservation of democracy. Is the president doing enough to answer the needs and demands of the American voter when it comes to the economy and lowering prices?
The president and his economic team are working on this effort every single day. And the president is not only trying to fix the mess created by the previous administration's incompetence and reckless spending, he is trying to fix decades of unfair trade practices that have ripped our country off, that have sent jobs overseas, and that have forced millions of Americans out of their jobs.
Less than 21 days before I was terminated for my performance.
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did.
Now, this kicks off yet another disastrous week for the current administration as the market continued to dwindle in anticipation of Trump's tariffs, which take effect tomorrow. And I don't know, perhaps there's something in the water over at Fox News, but when guys like Larry Kudlow are struggling to spin everything in a positive way for Trump, a guy who has literally claimed that the stock market was only good under Biden because of the anticipation that Trump might return, you know it's not going well for the current administration.
So much woo, folks. This is a tough way to end the week if you're long the market. If you're long gold, you're happy, but Dow is losing about 724, the S&P down 113, the NASDAQ down 484. That will do it for us.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Kudlow. I'm Larry Kudlow. So markets crash over 700 points today after a bad inflation report, more tariff confusion. Oh, and by the way, Republicans really going to raise taxes? That could have done it. Our own Sandra Smith, Taylor Riggs, and Jerry Wills be right here on set to break it all. If this is true, this would be among the top 3 dumbest things I've ever heard.
And this follows suit with an interview Fox host Shannon Bream conducted on Sunday as she confronted White House Senior Counselor for Trade and Manufacturing, Peter Navarro, presenting that very polling that shows more than half of Americans believe tariffs on imports will raise prices and harm the U.S. economy.
You heard Lucas's reporting there where the president says he doesn't care if the prices go up on U.S. cars. So what's the message to the U.S. consumer?
The message is that tariffs are tax cuts, tariffs are jobs, tariffs are national security, tariffs are great for America, tariffs will make America great again.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Because they are currently doing so.
BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, who writes an annual chairman's letter required reading for anyone in the markets, wrote some faithful words today. Quote, I hear it from nearly every client, nearly every leader, nearly every person I talk to. They're more anxious about the economy than any time in recent memory, end quote. I come back and say, I believe that. I believe that wholeheartedly. But let's think about what that really means for you and me. We have declining inflation, except the president's putting on inflationary tariffs. We have incredibly low unemployment, except where it's caused by the Trump administration. We have a market that was doing extremely well last year until the Trump administration sowed a level of uncertainty that I can't recall any time since, are you ready, ski daddy, Jimmy Carter, which is the last time people were really worried about inflation, about stagflation, okay? Back then, stagflation was real. Now, Jimmy Carter, curious benchmark. Break out the cardigan sweater. I know it's a brutal comparison. You think I did it idly? I cannot think of another president in my lifetime who knocked down the stock market simply by opening his mouth than Jimmy Carter. Eureka! I have found him. So let's look at it this way. Everything about this economy is good. Everything, except one thing. We have a president who's very angry at everyone except Vladimir Putin. Oh, no, maybe even Vladimir Putin. And his wrath has made investors so downcast and so negative that people have just given up. They want nothing to do with stocks, nothing to do with this world, because they're sure the White House will keep laying on the tariffs that seem to be wiping out your wealth and my wealth. In this environment, it's a wonder anyone's buying anything, unless they think that the one person who's standing in the way of a great economy, one that could have incredible growth with lowered inflation, lower oil prices, less regulation, more confidence, will finally change the stripes. If Trump can lose the anger, drop the scowl, stop diminishing our friends and rivals while making common cause with our enemies, and generally start acting like he did in his first term, well, that would be huge for the stock market. As far as the stock market is concerned, though, we need less Jimmy Carter, more Ronald Reagan. Bottom line, maybe Wednesday is a deliberation day. It's just the day when American investors may be finally liberated from the president's not-so-pro-business attitude once he gets the tariffs out of the way.
Driving the auto industry into a recession. GM shares are down 5%. We were sitting around the desk looking at the declines in the automakers as President Trump is speaking.
Well, it's been a difficult run already for the automakers, and we have heard about sensitivity on higher prices. And again, if you're talking about $4,000 on a crossover, and they're saying three times that in terms of EVs.
As we know too well, Fox News, it isn't exactly the bastion of liberal ideology. It's usually Trump's own personal megaphone, along with X. But to see this level of pushback outside of that offered by Jessica Tarlov, it should be worrying to those who like to cocoon themselves off from reality and pretend that Trump is doing a good job, because he's not. He's failing right now, badly.
The stock market, to Steve's point, since Election Day, is almost flat. It's only down 2% since he was elected president again. And since Inauguration Day, it's down 5.5%. I mean, we're not talking about... That's a lot.
5.5% is a lot.
Okay. All right. Well, when we're talking about the market meltdown, I see these headlines out there and I think there's no...
It's the last thing I want's a market meltdown. I'm not the one who challenged all of Trump's tariffs. I was equal with Steve. We both didn't like them. Okay.
And that's still where you are.
I think tariffs should be a blunt instrument that hits something like steel, something like tires, not across the board.
Targeted.
And very targeted.
This is a man who promised to lower prices and reduce inflation day one. And not only have prices gone up, economists believe a recession is on the horizon. And clearly Fox News viewers are not thrilled either. I mean, when 69% of Fox viewers believe that Trump's tariffs will make products more expensive and 56% of those same viewers disapprove of his handling of the economy, can you imagine how the rest of America are feeling?
Donald Trump's ratings on handling the economy, inflation, cost of living are all tanking. And we're seeing this administration's incompetence and recklessness on a scale unimaginable. I'm sure you guys saw this incredible Jeffrey Goldberg piece from right before we got on air a couple years ago about Goldberg, who is a journalist at The Atlantic, being invited into a private Signal chat with all of our national security heads. So Rubio, Hegseth, Waltz, Tulsi Gabbard, Scott Bessent's in there, et cetera. And they are planning on just Signal to drop bombs in Yemen. So they're not doing this in a skiff. They're doing it on an app that you and I, we all have on our phones. And it's obviously incredibly reckless, national security risks. I don't want to ever hear butthurt emails again. I don't know what's going to happen to anyone who's involved in something like this. But on top of it, you have the vice president. He's in there as well, contradicting Donald Trump on his policy on Europe. So all of this is going on. We're only a couple months into this administration. And when Carville says, let's see what they do, you get stuff like this.
But rest assured, Trump and his closest companions will find a way to spin this as some deep state attack orchestrated by the very people who often go to bat for Trump on a regular basis, regardless of how ridiculous it makes them look.
And yeah, they accidentally leaked something to the media instead of
They didn't leak
the
it, they
Democrats
invited him in.
actually leaking classified information to the media. Jessica.
No.
All right? At least they didn't homebrew a server and acid wash it. But her emails, I just did it.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.